What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Today is Monday, which means Boxing Ego Monday Mail Day. I thumbed up the questions I'll be answering. You guys left a lot of good questions. We didn't really have much big boxing going on because the Super Bowl. Now that that's over with, hopefully we get back to some big cards, and let's get right into it. So, first question comes from Jack C3D. Quite a few people feel that Khan will be victorious against Canelo if he boxes him and don't stay in the pocket. What do you think, Ego? Now, I'm doing a video. Make sure you check out 7 reasons why Canelo versus Khan should not be next. I put that video up last week, and I'm also going to be doing a follow-up. 7 reasons why Canelo defeats Amir Khan. That's just my personal opinion. Not throwing any shade on Amir Khan. I just think he's in over his head a little bit, and most of the advantages, and this is kind of what I talk about in the 7 reasons Canelo-Khan shouldn't happen video. It's just a lot of things stacked against him. And for my full prediction on why I'm picking Canelo, stay tuned for that video on the channel. But I just don't see it. There's a lot of things you have to factor in. Like, one, it's happening at 155, which Canelo has fought his last 4 fights at that weight, from Angulo all the way to Cotto. So Amir Khan is the one having to move up. That's one thing. And then you just look at it. Khan, he has respectable power at best, but I don't think he has destructive, he'll destroy you type of power. And some people can get gassed up by like maybe the Collazo knockdown. Collazo was literally walking up to him with his hands down. And you got to take into consideration that, like, so again, you're not going to just punk him and just take maybe all of his shots flush, but him moving up at 155, where's his power going to be? So to me, that stipulates that he needs to outbox for 12 solid rounds a guy like Canelo, who's a good thinker, good boxer, puncher, bigger naturally, going to rehydrate more, in my opinion, based on their history. And the cards are stacked against Amir Khan. But for more on my detailed breakdown, make sure you stay tuned to the 7 reasons video, which I should drop once I get caught up. Next question is from Oscar Martinez. What do you think about David Haye versus Shannon Briggs? I think it's a good fight. Neither one of them has really done anything in recent memory to catapult them to the top of the division where they would be fighting Tyson Fury's, Deontay Wilder, belt holders and stuff like that. But that's a fun little fight. We know Shannon Briggs. He's a talker. He's an entertainer, very active on his social media. Let's go, champ! And David Haye, he was on a long layoff, just came back and knocked out one of the Backstreet Boys or whatever. So it'll be a fun fight. Both guys got power. And David Haye's looking to get back into the swing of things. Both guys need to take a fight like this in order to get the bigger fights down the line. The Anthony Joshua's, title holders, the Wilders and Parkers, and you know what I mean, people who have been a little bit more active, maybe with better competition and or belt holders. So I like that. David Haye versus Shannon Briggs. Sign me up. I would definitely watch it. Next question is from Leno DiBiase. Do you think Andre Ward will beat Kovalev? Because when you see guys go down off of a stiff jab, or didn't he? I just added a word. Off of a jab, Kovalev has freakish power. Will Andre be able to take that? Now, that's a good question. I am picking Ward. Again, I will do a 7 reasons if this video is finalized and official. First, I want to see how Ward, this is just right now. As of right now, I want to see how Ward looks against Sullivan Barrera. However, right now, without seeing his first official fight at light heavyweight, I would pick Ward to beat Kovalev. Just different intangibles. Power is great. Kovalev's also a good boxer. He has a mean streak. I understand that, but styles make fights. And the thing about Andre Ward that people don't take into consideration is he's crafty. He's a veteran. I've seen him do things kind of like Bernard Hopkins, where he'll hit you with maybe a 1 or 2 piece, like bop bop, and it'll be a flush scoring shot. Then he'll get in real close to you and kind of smother you, so you can't really counter it effectively because he's all the way in your chest. He's actually a good inside fighter, and he knows when to clinch. He knows when to get in the inside. He knows when to smother you and mug you, and that, I think, will give Kovalev problems because Kovalev's not the most athletic guy. He's not the speedster like a Pacquiao or somebody. So to me, I think Kovalev, he does have destructive power and good boxing ability. The difference maker would be, and I'll expand on this more in the 7 reasons video if this fight is finalized. Difference maker would be the ring IQ. You look at Jean Pascal, it's night and day what he does and what Andre Ward does. Jean Pascal, he's 30 plus years old. He's going to fight the way he's always fought. You know what I mean? Jean Pascal was getting out jabbed by Kovalev. So all the Freddie Roaches in the world can't save Jean Pascal from those 2 ass whoopings, and it's just because of the style matchup. But when I think of Andre Ward, a lot craftier. Like Jean Pascal, if I was his trainer, I would notice in the rematch, especially one crucial mistake. He got a guy with power who can box, who already beat you and stopped you, and you're fighting from a mid to outrange type of fight, and you were getting out jabbed. So it doesn't make sense to fight at that range. And I think Ward is smarter than a Pascal, so he knows at what range to fight. You know what I'm saying? He'll mix it up, give you different looks, change levels, get in on the inside, then not stay in the inside and in the pocket where it's going to be too dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So I think versus a Pascal, it's a night and day. Some people are going to bring up the Bernard Hopkins victory for Kovalev. And I've actually picked, go look at my old prediction, pick Kovalev to beat via decision, not stoppage, because some other people picked Kovalev over Hopkins, but I picked it via decision, unanimous decision, and I was 100% right over B-Hop. Now, B-Hop's he's a legend, he's crafty. Thing is, he's not as fresh in terms of being at that weight and stuff. He's a 50-year-old. He's a 50-year-old man. I think Andre Ward is more in his athletic prime. He's just a bit younger, things like that. And he has his new deal, Rock Nation. He has all the injuries and stuff that has plagued his career in the past. That's behind him now. So I think ultimately Ward will pull it off. It's not by any means an easy fight. I'm not selling Kovalev short. That's the thing with my predictions. I don't have to be over the top and say, oh yeah, Ward's going to destroy him in 1 round. I think that's the most difficult fight. But again, let's first see how he looks. I could be completely wrong. And Sullivan Barrera is no pushover. So we'll see how he looks in March at light heavyweight, his first official fight there. But at the moment, I would pick Ward. Next question is from Pardees Hafiz. Manny Pacquiao versus Canelo, who would win? Definitely pick Canelo, especially at this point of his career. Thing is, people, they always pick like apples and D batteries and shit. But Pacquiao destroyed Margarito. Yeah, but Pacquiao also went on record saying that was his most difficult fight. And that's why he's never fought at 150 pounds again after that. He said that was a difficult fight for him up at that point of his career. That was the most difficult fight. A lot of people let the fact that Pacquiao destroyed his eye and orbital bone, they let that overshadow. Margarito actually had some success in there. He actually hurt Pacquiao to the body, and his size was wearing Pacquiao down. But Pacquiao, being tough, having a good poker face, being a veteran, and being fast, and Margarito more stationary, Pacquiao did his thing and busted him up. But Margarito, it was still a difficult fight. People don't understand that. It still takes its toll when you got a big-ass 5'10" dude who's relentless nonstop. Even if he's getting his eye socket crashed in, I mean, he's still landing something. And like I said, he hurt Pacquiao to the body. So when you look at Canelo, different animal, because Pacquiao versus Canelo is not the same fight. Now, they both have slow feet, but Canelo has fast hands, and he's more of a thinker than Margarito. And he has faster hands, in my opinion, than Margarito. And he hadn't been stopped by Shane Mosley like Margarito. He actually dominated Shane Mosley when Canelo fought him. So I think the size differential, the point at Pacquiao's at in his career, I would easily pick Canelo, the boxer puncher, the bigger guy who's going to rehydrate to 173 pounds or whatever, to beat Pacquiao. I would love to see it, to see if I'm right or wrong. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I would easily pick Canelo to destroy Pacquiao at this point. And that's no hate. That's just really what I see. I think Canelo's pretty smart. And oh no, Pacquiao doesn't look like necessarily the vintage Pacquiao that was destroying bigger guys, so it's a different matchup than the Margarito. Next question is Eric Shipman. Ego, I got a 3-part question. Good, I love those. Does the Khan-Canelo fight make any sense? No. And I did a video, again, check that out. 7 reasons why Canelo-Khan should not happen next, and I elaborate on that. Then you also said, only person who can gain from this is Khan. That's actually one of the points in that 7 reasons video that I said. And the reason being is Khan is the one taking all of the risk, leaving welterweight where he had guys in line that he could have fought. KELL Brook, his mandatory, which was Danny Garcia, who had has a WBC belt. He could have avenged that. He's taking a risk by leaving the division, going upwards in weight to 155 to face a bigger guy and a good fighter in Canelo. So to me, it only works one way. you'll get credit if somehow Khan beats Canelo. He'll get credit because he took the risk, he took the gamble, and if he can outbox him or whatever, so be it. But I can't give Canelo that much credit by picking on a smaller guy who has no experience past 147. He hasn't even fought at 150 before. You know what I mean? Jumping right into the fire. So I give Khan a lot of props for his stones. Canelo, not so much. You're the lineal middleweight champion, and you're picking on a smaller guy who's been stopped and hurt in lower weight divisions. And he doesn't really even have any major wins at welterweight, like a win over Pacquiao or, like, you know what I'm saying? Even Brooke has a win over Sean Porter. And to me, where Porter was at, Porter destroyed Paulie Malignaggi. Porter looked good against Devin Alexander, and Kell Brook beat him. Khan beat Luis Collazo, who beat Victor Ortiz off a 15-month layoff with a broken jaw and Dancing with the Stars. You know what I mean? Khan beat Devin Alexander, who he's solid, but you know what I mean? You've seen Devin Alexander lose to Sean Porter at that point. He's since lost after the Amir Khan loss. He lost to Aaron Martinez. So, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of where he was. Sean Porter had already beat Alexander. So, again, not to shit on Khan's welterweight reign, but he hasn't toppled one of the prime names like a Danny Garcia who's undefeated, Kell Brook who's undefeated, and he's going straight up to face Canelo. So the odds are stacked against him. And you said, with a mandatory defense against Triple G lurking, why would Oscar decide it's best for his fighter to fight someone that hasn't been a welterweight champion? And that's kind of what I just said. I think he is a welterweight champion, but I think it's more based on politics. I think he has a WBC silver belt. But before, when he announced he was moving from 140 to 147, I believe the WBC or somebody sanctioning body had him listed at number 2, and he hadn't even had a welter fight, and they had him listed at the number 2 welterweight. So I do think he's a welterweight champion, but it's like there's too many belts in boxing. But either way, let me keep going with your question. Oh, actually, that is your question. So, it's business. Oscar knows that it's a pretty safe fight. We've seen Canelo outbox before. Like I said before, I don't think Canelo will be hurt by Amir Khan to the point where Amir Khan can finish him and stop him. It's been a while since we've seen Amir Khan with a stoppage, especially against a guy maybe bigger than him or about his size, like, or big in general. He didn't stop Danny Garcia, Luis Collazo, Devin Alexander, Chris Algieri, who was moving up in weight. So for him to move up to 155, that's going to be a tall order, which means he's going to have to outbox Canelo. And Canelo's never been knocked down or stopped as a pro. So that's another reason why I don't think it'll be a stoppage, just based on history. So that means he's going to have to outbox him. Plus, we've seen Canelo outboxed by Lara. I thought Lara beat him by a round or two. Mayweather clearly beat him pretty much all the rounds. They still try to give Canelo a draw. And Trout was another controversial one for Canelo. So the point being is, even if Khan were to outbox him, he'd have to look splendid without getting hurt, because Canelo's a rock star, and he's clearly the guy that, you know what I mean, Khan's in enemy territory. This is, for all intents and purposes, this is a Golden Boy event on HBO pay-per-view. Khan is the visitor going to HBO pay-per-view. So to me, Khan is the foreigner, so to speak, in terms of, like, Khan is the one making an appearance on HBO when Heyman fighters haven't made appearance on HBO in a year or so. So everything's stacked against him. This is a Golden Boy event. I think they truly want Canelo to win. So I think the judges are probably going to be partial. Plus, Canelo will probably land, I mean, you've seen what he was doing to Cotto. He'll probably land the more impactful thudding type of shots, which some people score. Like, it's a tough fight. But again, like I said, it's a pretty much a win-win situation, because I think Mayweather and Lara are both more masterclass boxers than Amir Khan. He's a good fighter, but I think those guys are like masterclass boxers, and namely because they have better defenses than him. And Lara is bigger than a guy like an Amir Khan in terms of, that's why he's talking about possibly moving up to 160. Mayweather's just Mayweather. He's in a league of his own. So again, it's a safe fight for Oscar and Canelo. You got a big-ass lineal middleweight Canelo, someone who could clearly fight at middleweight, who's tapping the 155 division that he made up. And the worst that could probably happen is he could look sloppy by getting outboxed for some rounds, but he still has the power advantage, the size advantage, and, you know, I mean, might even stop Khan. So to me, it's not really, I just don't see much that Khan can do. he could, like I said, I don't think his shots will have as much effect. So that's why it's a tricky fight, because when you're in there with a guy who's pretty tough, never been knocked down, never been stopped, he's the A side, so to speak, he's the one they want to win, then you have to put up a superb performance because you're the person that is expected to lose. You know what I mean? So he would have to be blasting Canelo to the point where it's like so convinced, like he did with Devin Alexander. There's no way anyone could have given Devin Alexander that fight. So to me, Khan has to have a flawless type performance. So it's really a safe fight as far as I'm concerned for Golden Boy Oscar and Canelo. And then lastly, can this fight be bigger than Canelo-Cotto, like Oscar said? Thanks for the time. Keep up the good work. I actually agree with Oscar. I think it possibly could be better than Canelo-Cotto, bigger, excuse me, not better than Canelo-Cotto, but for the wrong reasons. I think whereas Canelo-Cotto, people were looking forward to that fight because they thought it was, both guys had a winning shot. It was like a 50-50 fight. A lot of people had solid reasons why Cotto would beat Canelo. Even though I picked Canelo in my 7 reasons video, I picked Canelo to beat Cotto. And I was right. And I picked it by decision, I believe, which turned out to be true. But I think people gave, the bottom line is this, people gave Cotto a winning shot. He was the lineal middleweight champion. He's the first round Hall of Famer when he retires. He has a better resume. So you could make a sound argument. With this fight, Canelo-Khan, I don't really know anybody intelligently breaking down how Khan is going to win and stay out of trouble for 12 rounds. If you guys have a link to a video where someone's picking Khan and they intelligently break it down for my ears and tell me exactly what Khan's going to do. And keep in mind, Khan is considered the one with the worst chin of the two. You know what I mean? He's the guy taking all the risks by moving up from 47 to 55. He's the guy expected to lose. He's the guy who's the B side. So again, if you have any videos where somebody's intelligently breaking down, because I seen some intelligent breakdowns, even though I thought Canelo would beat Cotto, which he did, I seen some intelligent breakdowns that you can't really argue about why Cotto would beat Canelo. But I haven't really seen that with Canelo-Khan. So I do think it could be big or bigger, possibly. Canelo-Cotto did 900,000 pay-per-view buys. This could be bigger, but again, for the wrong reasons, because it's kind of like a train wreck. We know. See, this is why it's a safe fight too, because Amir Khan's no punk. He has heart. So he always goes out on his shield, win, lose, or draw. So Oscar knows it'll probably be an entertaining fight. Amir Khan's going to come to bang, no homo. He's going to try to win the fight, even if he's hurt or whatever the situation is. So it could be bigger for that reason, because people are expecting a good fight, no matter if Canelo stops Khan or whatever. While it lasts, it should be a good fight, especially if they put together a good undercard. It could do maybe over 1.1 million or something like that. So just because it's a weird matchup that people didn't expect, it could possibly be bigger than Canelo-Cotto, but I don't think it would be bigger for the people for 50-50 reasons, where Canelo-Cotto, people were actually thinking Cotto would beat Canelo, and I don't really think that is the case with Canelo-Khan. I haven't really seen any. I seen wishful thinking, like they want Khan to win. Shit, I want Khan to win damn near, because I think it'd be good for the sport, and it'll be good because I like a good underdog story. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I like an underdog story. I like that Rocky Balboa feel, and I think Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya, they try to pull the wool. You got a guy like Triple G who's the mandatory. You get extension. You don't even fight a 54-pounder at the least. You know what I mean? You pull up from the 147, then you pull up a guy who doesn't have the most power at 47. I don't think Khan has power like Maidana, Keith Thurman, Earl Spence Jr., especially at 47. You're pulling them all the way to Canelo weight at 155. So, shit, it'll be a ripple in the pond. It'd be good to see Khan win. I'm realistic. I just don't see it. Next question is from Hassan Zeb Rana. Hey, Ego. It seems to be a common occurrence in boxing where two fighters will meet at a catchweight, which always seems to favor one fighter more than the other, Khan versus Canelo. Why are the sanctioning rules and athletic commission so lenient to these kinds of matchups? Is it due to the fact that it is more of a business angle that is lucrative for them? Bingo. Do they just allow the promotional companies to negotiate these bouts? It seems to me that the rules should be more strict as to prevent any serious damage to both fighters in these kind of events and to impose a fair contest. Now, in a perfect world, that is all true, and I agree with everything you said. That's how it should be run, but we know this is a business, especially nowadays. You got social media, you got endorsements, and Everybody's trying to make a dollar. So it's all about the almighty dollar, putting green in your pocket. So that's why you see situations where sanctioning bodies are more lenient towards a certain fighter. For Canelo, he's a rock star. The girls love him. He's a clean-cut dude. Guys like him. He's an entertaining style. He's only once beaten. You know what I mean? He has good highlight reels, like, because his combination punching, body work, and etc. He speaks Spanish. You know what I'm saying? He's marketable. So the WBC, yeah, they're going to bend over backwards, especially since they have deep ties with Golden Boy, Oscar de la Hoya, and things like that. So they're going to bend over backwards and be more lenient because they want him to. Canelo's rich right now. He's rich. You know what I mean? Look at his pad in San Diego. He has a mansion. He's fat. And the thing is, he's rich. So, yeah, the sanctioning bodies want him to hold their belt because that's an endorsement. Like, yeah, you see this clean-cut dude, a good fighter, and he's on our belt, versus guys like Guillermo Rigondeaux. Some people say he's boring. Some people hate the way he fights. Some people say it's too one-sided. Some people are racist and just hate him. Different things. So, yeah, some of those sanctioning bodies would be quick to strip someone like a Rigondeaux because he's not, you know what I mean, he's not the most popular dude. It's really a popularity contest, you know what I mean? I used this example before, just like the music industry. Because you're a platinum artist, that doesn't necessarily mean you're the most talented. Yeah, sometimes you got lyrically talented people like a Eminem who sell diamond and platinum and are very successful and they actually can spit, or they're singers that are actually good and do the numbers. But sometimes you get people who just slide through the cracks, you know what I mean? And they're not as talented, but they're still very marketable. You know what I mean? Like, is Justin Bieber the best singer of all time? Probably not. And I'm not shitting on JB, but it is what it is. Is he the best? You know what I'm saying? Can you think of any other male vocalist with a better voice? Yeah, you probably can. But he's still one of the most successful because he has a fan base. He's marketable. They have merchandise, etc. So it's all politics, and that's what it boils down to. Canelo's a star. He's an A-side. They want to promote him. He has deep ties with Golden Boy and Oscar and stuff. So they're not as stringent, you know what I mean? And it is what it is, but you're right. It should be more of a equal, consistent type of enforcement of the rules, but that's not what you get. And Khan was just desperate for a fight, and I think Oscar kind of exploited that and took advantage. He knew Khan wanted to fight Mayweather, didn't get it. He wanted to fight Pacquiao, didn't get it. He wanted to fight Marquez, we don't know where he's at. He wanted to fight Cotto, didn't happen. None of these fights happened. So Oscar's seen it. He's seen the guy was desperate for a big fight. Said, hey, I got a fighter that you're overmatched with. You know what I mean? Let's put it together. And the rest is history. Next question is from Boyden's Boxing Blog. Hey, Ego, do you think Berto can get his career back on track after the Mayweather loss? Why or why not? Thanks, Josh. Keep up the great work. I appreciate you for all you do for boxing. Thank you for that last sentence. And I do think Berto can actually get back on track. Here's the thing. When it comes to Mayweather, a loss to Mayweather is really meaningless. You know what I mean? We've seen guys like Canelo lose. He got the shit beat out of him by Mayweather. Got embarrassed, especially in that 11th round. And now he's lineal middleweight champion. You know what I mean? Robert Guerrero had other big fights after the Mayweather loss. So Mayweather is kind of an expected loss. People expect you to lose to Mayweather, despite what they tell you with their heart. They expect you to lose. You could tell by the Vegas betting odds. Nobody's really been the favorite over Mayweather in some years. So Berto losing to Mayweather, it is what it is. No one gave Berto really a winning shot anyway. So the fact that he went the distance, didn't get knocked down or anything, yeah, he could definitely get back on track. Another thing, I talked to Troy King about this. I think Berto he trained hard for the Mayweather fight. It just so happens, like I said, Floyd's in a league of his own to the point where he can make a solid guy look like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like how he made Berto. But he looked sharp. Berto looked pretty sharp. Like, he was sliced. He was cut up. I think he wanted to win the fight. You're in there with Floyd Mayweather. It just gives you too many different looks. But I think the Berto that showed up, focused and disciplined for the Mayweather fight would have given really any other welterweights problems. Like Lamont Peterson, they're saying that's a possible fight. Josecito Lopez, if they did a rematch. Danny Garcia. I mean, that Berto that showed up in the Mayweather fight, he took it serious. So I think, I'm not saying he'll beat these guys, but if your name ain't Mayweather, it would have probably been a more competitive fight. A Guerrero rematch, any of those fights would have been a lot more competitive. It just so happened Floyd is a cut above to the point where he can make you look like dog shit and, You're actually a solid dude. Next question is from Hamza Ahmed. Yo, Ego, by Khan going for this Canelo fight, does he lose his mandatory shot for the WBC welterweight title against Danny Garcia? If Khan was to lose against Canelo and decide to back down to welterweight, is he instantly made mandatory challenger again? And how soon could he get in the ring with Danny Garcia? Will Danny have any voluntary defenses delaying a Khan versus Garcia 2? Very good question. Unfortunately, I don't have the answer to that. You would have to talk to the WBC. And it goes to the question I just answered a few questions back about it's all politics. So the WBC is going to do what they want. And Khan's a pretty popular fighter. Even that if he loses to Canelo, they might put him back in line. Like I said earlier in this video, Khan, before he even moved up to 47, they had him ranked at number two welterweight in the world with no welterweight fights. So I don't really know how it's organized or how they determine it. So it's really whatever strings they decide to pull. You know what I mean? They might give him credit for being a warrior and stepping up to fight Canelo and making like an entertaining fight while it lasts, and then like, you know what I mean, cut him some slack and give him the mandatory shot. So I'm not sure if he's going to lose his mandatory positioning versus Danny Garcia. It's really just dependent on the WBC and the sanctioning body. But I do think this, depending on how Khan loses, which I think he will lose, but how he loses. If he loses, like, you know what I mean, he has a fun fight and doesn't get banged up too much and goes the distance, then there's a lot of opportunities. But if he, let's say he went in there in the first round and got demolished, hypothetically, of course, or if he took a bad, brutal KO, you know what I mean, that's going to hurt a Garcia rematch or a KELL Brook fight. And that's what I said in my 7 Reasons video. I mean, do you really want to see KELL Brook versus Khan or Danny Garcia rematch if he gets stretched bad by Canelo, which is a possibility? You know, I don't know. That's why it's such a dangerous fight. So hopefully he has a good showing. Next question is from Jafar Khan. Do you think if Canelo beats Khan, he's going to fight Triple G before 2017? If not, which other big fights are there for him? It's hard to tell. I mean, that's another thing where it all breaks down to how he looks versus Khan. And the fact that he's bringing up a welterweight with 3 fights doesn't give me the confidence that he will fight Triple G before 2017. Because like I said in my 7 Reasons video, I don't think that's good preparation for a Triple G. If you look at Khan, his best attributes, probably athleticism, speed. He gives you some movement. Triple G doesn't do those. He's not like a speedster, you know what I mean, that throws a million punches. He's good at other things, like his jab, his cutting off the ring, and his power, you know what I'm saying? So to me, this doesn't, even if Canelo knocked out Khan in the second round, that doesn't prove that he's ready for Triple G. That's just my opinion, because styles make fights, and those are completely opposite styles. So you look at Floyd Mayweather, what Floyd does, some people don't understand this. Floyd oftentimes will prepare with a style that'll gear him up for a future fight. Like he fought Robert Guerrero, who was a champion. He was off a long layoff because he did that jail stint or whatever after the Cotto fight. Fought Guerrero, who was a champion who had been calling him out, who's considered to be a tough Mexican warrior type. And then the next fight, he fought Canelo, who's a bigger, tougher Mexican warrior. You know what I'm saying? So that'll help at least prep you. And he was a southpaw, so that gives a different dynamic. And then he fought Canelo. Then he fought Maidana twice in those fights. And Maidana is a bigger guy who could crack, who's awkward. And he's going to apply, he has a better jab than Pacquiao too. And he's going to apply nonstop pressure. And he's unorthodox. So those 2 fights help gear Floyd up for a Pacquiao future fight much better, because Maidana arguably hits harder than Pacquiao at this point at 147. Look at the guys who have been hurt by Maidana at 47. And then look at recent Pacquiao. He hasn't had a stoppage since 2009, and it's 2016. You know what I mean? And that was Cotto, I believe, when he stopped him in the 11th round, TKO. So arguably Maidana's the bigger puncher. And again, his relentless pressure, that'll gear you up for a Pacquiao fight. Not that Maidana fights like Pacquiao. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is his style and what he did well would gear him up for the frenetic pace of a Pacquiao. And the fact that Maidana's punches are unpredictable, just like Pacquiao. That's why you notice the Maidana fight was actually the first one was a tougher fight for Floyd than the Pacquiao fight. But Canelo fighting Khan, I don't think that's a tougher fight than Triple G. I think Triple G is a tougher fight based on the stylistic matchup. Khan, you know what I mean, he does certain things well, but again, he hasn't developed as a junior middleweight. He's never fought over 147. It's just a lot of things stacked against him. But we'll see if I'm wrong. But I don't have the confidence that Canelo will fight Triple G based on the opponent choice. And I told you guys that going in. Based on who Canelo chooses next, that's going to determine if I believe that Canelo Triple G will happen. Next question is from Roberto Espinoza Torres. Give me your thoughts on HBO's poor quality fights they have shown and pending to Kovalev Pascal 2, Crawford Lundy, Pacquiao Bradley, and Canelo-Khan. Hey, I like HBO's video production, but it is what it is. Kovalev Pascal 2, that was a give me. That's why I didn't do an official prediction. I talked to some of you guys on Instagram and Twitter. It was an easy fight to predict. I didn't see what Freddie Roach would be able to do different. Troy King said the same thing. He said Pascal was dead in the first fight. Crawford Lundy, it's not the biggest fight. I think bigger fights would be obviously like a Crawford Broner, which maybe not likely because of the Heyman thing, but even a Crawford Postal. But I do think that's a fun fight. I think Crawford should be the clear favorite in that particular fight, but I think it could be entertaining for as long as it lasts. It's still, you know what I'm saying? It's just, he didn't get the Pacquiao fight, he didn't get the Herrera fight, he didn't get Ruslan, so it is what it is. It's decent, you know what I mean, based on how animated Hank Lundy is and how much shit he's been talking and things like that. So that's solid. Pacquiao Bradley, again, the third time, do we really need to see it? Bradley gets hurt every single time he fights Pacquiao. I can't say Bradley is super improved with Teddy Atlas based off of fighting Rios only, you know what I mean? And then before that, you were with Joel Diaz and you were clearly winning. Bradley makes suspect decisions at random points. Everything he was doing for the first 11 rounds, he stopped doing in the 12th round versus Jesse Vargas, and which was subsequently the round he got hurt in. He was bringing the fight to Jesse Vargas for 11 rounds, just wild, swinging, and Vargas had no answers for it. All of a sudden, in the 12th round, he started boxing like he was fighting Marquez. Why go away from what was working? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do that? And then he wasn't as aggressive in the 12th round, and he started to box a bit more, and Vargas was able to catch him and time him with the perfect shot, and we all know what happened in that fight, the premature stoppage, etc. Canelo-Khan, it's exciting because it's two big names, but I do think it's a mismatch because of the size. It's kind of like Canelo versus Josito Lopez 2.0, and that's because you have a good fighter, and I do think Khan's a better fighter than Josito Lopez, and he has more speed and different things. But at the same time, the size differential is probably the biggest thing. If Khan was naturally fighting at 54, that'd be something different. But the fact that he has no experience above 147 and only 3 fights at 147, in one of those fights, his last fight, which has happened to be a long layoff, that's another thing. The timing's bad. You know what I mean? He fought Algeria. By the time he fights Canelo, that'll be over a year or just about a year. And he didn't look great in that fight. You know what I mean? He looked good. He looked real good versus Devin Alexander. Real good his first fight versus Collazo. But he didn't look that great versus Algeria. He won, but it wasn't the greatest. So I think the timing's bad for Khan. He hasn't acclimated. HBO, hopefully they just step it up. You know what I mean? Because you're competing with Thurman and Porter and fights like that. A lot of good fights. They're negotiating Deontay Wilder versus Povetkin. Both parties seem optimistic. Another good PBC fight if that does get finalized. You know what I mean? You're competing with those types of fights, and it's just going to be tough. No one could complain about Wilder Povetkin. That's his mandatory. Both guys with power. You know what I mean? Wilder's had some tough fights. His last fight, he got rocked by Eric Molina. Johan Duhaupas gave him a tough fight where he took him rounds. Artur Spilka gave him a tough fight. So the Povetkin fight is definitely a good one, and it's his mandatory. So, yeah, it's going to be hard for HBO to compete. They do have some things. Probably the Sullivan Barrera versus Ward is one of them that I'm really looking forward to. I'll be there. And the other thing is I haven't even heard that. I haven't seen any HBO announcements about that fight actually being finalized, posters and stuff like that. So I'm wondering why it's stalling. But out of the official fights, like Pascal 2, the Crawford Lundy, Pacquiao Bradley, Canelo-Khan, there's no fight that I'm looking at that seems as evenly matched as like a Porter Thurman. or Povetkin Wilder if that fight happens. So HBO, you got some work to do. Put some matches together. Like a Crawford versus Postol would be excellent. Something like that. I would even wanted the Crawford versus Pacquiao. So, you know what I mean? That's just me though. Next question, Benjamin Franklin. Boxing Ego, do you think Khan move is bad choice? Better for him to fight Garcia or Brook? And do you think he ducked them some kind of way with that fight? I definitely think it's a bad choice because I don't think he's going to win it. You know what I mean? I think there's so many things. And again, for the last time, 7 Reasons video, I'm working on it. And I'll explain my thoughts in its entirety about this subject, about why I think Canelo beats Khan. Aside from that, I think Garcia and Brook are both fights where Khan has a better shot of winning. To be honest, he was doing good versus Garcia the first 2 rounds. Brook fight, I would pick Brook to beat Khan. But Brook, he hasn't been fighting great competition, so I could be wrong on that. But either way, I think both of those guys stylistically are more winnable than the Canelo fight going up to 55 and stuff. People like Dan Rayfield, they're saying, oh, yeah, all the people who said Khan was ducking Brook, they're quiet now and you look dumb and stuff like that. I don't agree with that. I think it's still possible that Khan ducked the Brook fight, which I do think he didn't want it for whatever reason. Brook was calling him out, Eddie Hearn, and for whatever reason, he didn't accept it. You know what I mean? And that seemed like the next logical order of business. Now, some people would be like, what? Ego? How did Khan duck Brook, but he's willing to challenge himself with Canelo? Very simple, my friends. The reason being is him fighting Canelo, I give him credit because you're out of your element going up in weight. That's a dangerous fight for him. Right? So I give him credit for that. But excuse me. It's different fighting Canelo. You're expected to lose to Canelo. He's bigger. He's the champion. He's the A-side. He's the HBO fighter. You're the guest on HBO, etc. You're expected to lose. So Khan has an easy scapegoat in the Canelo fight. Even if he gets knocked out. Oh, I challenged myself, came up short. I got knocked out by a bigger man. Whoopie-doo. You know what I mean? That doesn't really hurt. I mean, depending on what type of knockout it is, physically it might hurt him. But you still got to give credit for Khan for challenging himself. So to me, it's a built-in, like, I hate to say excuse, but like a built-in scapegoat, built-in excuse on if he comes up short in the Canelo fight. Hey, I did my best, and the guy was just too big. You know what I mean? Versus losing to KELL Brook, that is your countryman. That is your British contemporary, your British rival, a champion. This is for the UK bragging rights. There's a different level of pressure. It is very similar to Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. 5 years of deliberation between fans, Pacquiao fans, Mayweather fans, Flomos, Pactars, whatever you guys call them, right? 5 years of long, painstaking arguments on who would win. That's why when we had a winner and we had a loser, you still seen people, oh, watch it in slow-mo, or Pacquiao say, oh, I had my shoulder, I had to take salt water, and he took that loss pretty harder than others. He lost to Bradley, and I thought he actually beat Bradley, and he took that loss better than he took the Mayweather loss. Reason being, it's not that some losses hurt more. And to me, I think the Mayweather loss hurt more because he was the guy to dethrone Mayweather, put that blemish on his record. He was the guy that people thought would crucify Mayweather, knock him out, or again, just beat him up bad. He's too overwhelming, southpaw. Mayweather hasn't fought a guy who's fast with fast feet and power and awkward southpaw. Mayweather hates fighting southpaws. And he did worse than Zab Judah, worse than Maidana, worse than Cotto. And I think that was the biggest letdown. Again, some people could say a loss is a loss is a loss, but I don't think that. I think certain losses are worse. That loss was worse for Pacquiao than the Bradley loss because in the end of the day, most people still sided with Pacquiao and thought he beat him in the first fight. So it doesn't hurt. It doesn't really hurt Pacquiao's credibility. But the Mayweather loss, they were expecting you to do great things and to beat up on Floyd, the trash talker, the guy that they promoted as the villain, and you came up short. Same thing with Khan versus KELL Brook. It would be better to lose to a random guy from Mexico, Guadalajara, Mexico, in Canelo. Yeah, I lost to the redhead from Mexico. You know what I mean? That would be easier because you have no real ties to him and you're going in as an underdog. versus losing to your countrymen and bragging rights. If I'm from Chicago, I'd rather lose to a dude from New York than a dude from my own block in Chicago, because every time I go back to Chicago, they'll be like, oh, remember, hey, Ego, remember, this looked like Kane whipping your ass on this tape. Like, you know what I mean? They're going to be remembering that. All my peers, all my neighbors, and, you know what I mean, the people in that area, it's worse to lose to a hometown rival. Just like my high school football team, there was a local high school, Dixon, right? And they were rivals. Like, certain games, like, they would lose to other people in different parts, different cities or whatever. No big deal. But neither team wanted to lose to that team. You know what I mean? They didn't want to lose to Dixon because that was their rival. That was their known enemy. They hated each other. You know what I mean? Fights would break out and shit like that. So it doesn't matter that they lost to people from San Francisco or wherever, what other cities there were. You didn't want to lose to that team. And that's what I think KELL BROOK versus Khan is. Neither guy is going to want to lose because they got to go back to the UK like, damn, we was riding for you and you came up short. So I don't agree with people saying that because Khan picked Canelo, a dangerous fight, that automatically omits the fact that I think he avoided the KELL BROOK fight initially. Next question. Boxing IQ. If by some chance Khan wins, laughing emoji, what would he do being the new middleweight champion? Is there a real middleweight worth the risk of defending? I don't think it's realistic. One, I don't think Khan will beat Canelo. Again, I'm not destroying Khan. That's just my opinion. I'm not going to lie and act like I hope he does good. Like I said, I think it'd be great for boxing if he does do well. But I'm not going to lie and falsify information when I don't believe that. But I don't think it's realistic that he'll even beat Canelo. But even if he did, I think he'll drop back down because I don't think that's his weight at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I can't really picture him in there with Curtis Stevens, even David Lemieux, Danny Jacobs versus Khan. That just sounds ridiculous. Khan versus Danny Jacobs? Like, I can't picture it. And the last question is from Omar Benitez. Both Robert and Mikey Garcia stated that Mikey will return soon, and when he does, he will be returning at 140. Ego, how do you think Mikey would do against the top junior welterweights? Give me your thoughts, please. I think that's good. I don't think you should go straight to welterweight. I think 140 is a solid weight based on where he left a year and a half ago or whatever to now. 140 is good. Terrence Crawford already beat him in the amateurs. I would pick Crawford to beat Mikey Garcia again as a pro, especially with the layoff, because that ring rust, it's hard to bounce back from that. Plus, he already has the amateur wins over Mikey Garcia. But I think it would be a fun fight. It would be a good fight. I think he should take tune-ups before he jumps that deep into it. But I think he would do good. I mean, Mikey Garcia versus Jesse Vargas, that would be a good fight to me. Jesse Vargas, I don't know if he's going to campaign at 147 because he's fighting Saddam Ali. There's a lot of guys. Ruslan Provodnikov, Mikey Garcia, that's a good fight. Mauricio Herrera. So I think he could do good. I just, Broner, Mikey Garcia, I would love to see that fight. I think it'd be good. There'd be a lot of good. It sucks that his situation, because I don't know how he's going to return. You never know. When someone goes to jail or they have a long layoff or whatever reason they're out of the sport, you never know if they're going to return and look the same. Did he lose something in that off season during that legal battle? Like, or is he the exact same Mikey Garcia that was whooping up on Juan Manuel Lopez? So I wish him the best. I've interviewed him. He's a good dude. He comments and likes some of my stuff on Instagram sometimes. I think he'll definitely do well. He has the skill set to do well. It's just mentally and like physically, whatever he's done in this off season, how he's taking care of his body and how focused he is on making a return statement is going to be the telling of the tape in terms of Mikey Garcia. But from a skill standpoint, if he comes back focused and determined like he was before, he can give any of those guys a run for his money. Now that wraps up Monday Mail Day. I try to get to a lot of questions. We'll be back next week. Let me know what you guys think on these different issues. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.